Hey everybody, welcome to the videos where we're breaking down the Cookout Southern 500 at Darlington Raceway. This will take place on Sunday night at 6 p.m. on September 5th, and this is the first race of the NASCAR playoffs for the 2021 season. I'm definitely looking forward to it. We have 16 drivers competing for a chance to win the championship at the end of the year, and it all starts right here with round one. But Darlington's a pretty cool track. It's the track too tough to tame, the lady in the black, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. And if you find this video helpful in any way possible, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet already. If you want to take that one step further, become an official member over on Patreon. Link is down below in the description for that. We got a couple hundred people over there. We'd be more than happy to have you. And football is also starting. And so we'll have 3 sports going on, football, NASCAR, and baseball. So it is one of the best times to sign up. Plus, it's the beginning of the month as well. And last but not least, this video is sponsored by Prize Picks, which I am offering projections and my favorite picks in the article as of right now. I'm sure most of you know what it is by now, but if you don't, it's Daily Fantasy Sports Simplified, just you versus the projections. There's no sharks, 150 max contests, or salary cap restrictions, or anything like that. Just you versus the props that they offer each and every single day. And as of right now, if you're new signing over on Prize Picks, you can use code CPEN to get a free money bonus. That's an instant deposit match up to $100. When you tell them I sent you by either going to prizepicks.com, or you can use the link down below in the description. But I think that's it for the plugs for the most part, so without further ado, let's dive into the preview this week's video. But as per usual, I do need to mention a few things before we get started. So first off, the live stream. Since the race is at 6, we could do it later in the evening, but I'm thinking around 1 p.m. is just fine to keep it there, just so we can do it in the afternoon, get that over with, have a fun time. Then we have all day to build lineups, and you guys can do whatever the heck you want in the evening. So I'm planning around for 1 p.m. Eastern for the live stream. Then as far as the contest goes, all you got to do is comment your DQ username down below. I'll be more than happy to have you. Just a fun way for me to interact with you guys, see what kind of lineups you're building, and compete against you guys for shoutouts and money. So who doesn't really like that? So if you want to join, comment your DQ username down below, and I'll send you that invite. But I do want to shout out the winners that we had last week, so I'll put them on the screen right about now. And coming home in first place, taking home the gold and over $130, we had J.A. So shout out to you, man, on the gold. Then DK in second, taking home over $80. Then my man G Black in Discord taking home third place, the bronze medal for over $50. Then right of the bubble, we had Braves fan 1822. Fifth place, we had K Toga. Back-to-back weeks, good for K Toga, I believe. C Davis, bunch of numbers in 6th. My girlfriend actually back in 7th, so nice to have you on the shout-out list. Jets 999 in 8th, Sean Trailer 9th in my Discord, and final spot in the top 10 we had Jamar, bunch of numbers in 10th place. Shout out to you guys, you all made fantastic lineups, and I hope to see you all in the contest this weekend. But I think that's pretty much it for the housekeeping, so let's get into the preview of this week's race. And as previously mentioned, this is the Cookout Southern 500 at Darlington Raceway. There's your outline of the track, and it's kind of shaped like an egg. It is a short, mid, steep, high tire wear track. It's kind of unique, very unique actually. I wouldn't say there's really any track that's specifically like it. If you're looking for similar tracks, somewhat close to it, I guess you could say Dover, Atlanta, and Homestead. Those tracks are all pretty high tire for the most part. They're all kind of steep, so I kind of throw them all in the same category, although Darlington is pretty unique to itself. We're going to be in the 750 package this week, which is the package we use in all tracks that are smaller than 1.5 in length. And Darlington just happens to be right below that at 1.36 miles in length. We have nearly 400 laps on tap, 367 to be exact, which means dominator points are going to be pretty important this week, considering we have over 250 available to us. So this is definitely going to be a multi-dominator race, unless we see a guy come out like Kyle Larson lead 350 laps, which is certainly possible, but not something I'm going to expect here, especially now with the playoffs started. So at the very least, I want all my lineups containing at least 2 dominators. You can definitely stretch that to 3, maybe even 4, depending on the kind of build you're looking for, because we do have some cheap dominators this weekend, but you're definitely going to want multi-dominators in your lineups this weekend. But as far as the preview goes, I think that's pretty much it. So I think we move right over to the driver-by-driver breakdown portion of this week's race. And let's start up top here with the man Kyle Larson, $11,500. He is starting in 6th, and Darlington is a very, very good track for Larson. He was very good here in the 42 car. He finished 2nd here earlier this season, and I have no reason to believe why Kyle Larson cannot be the top dominator on the slate here. Obviously, there's some other options that I do like, but if I had to guess who's going to be the highest scoring driver this weekend, I'm definitely going to go with Larson. His track history at Darlington is fantastic. He's averaging over 20 DraftKings points more than the next driver. Average finish of 2.3, running position of 4.3, 3 top 5s, and over 100 laps led per race. Now, it's only a 3-race sample size in the past 6 races, because obviously he missed the 3 races in Darlington in 2020 for reasons I think we all know. But in the past 3 races, he's finished 2nd, and 3rd, and I mean, Larson is definitely going to be a force to reckon with. He's been great in the 550 package this year, but he's also been really good in the 750 package too. I believe he's 2nd in green flag speed, only behind Denny Hamlin in this package this year, and I mean, he's been fantastic. I have no reason to believe why he can't do it once again. I realize the price is a little bit up there, but I'm definitely more than willing to pay $11,500 for Larson, because if he comes out and leads close to 200 laps, it's not going to matter what his price is. He'll be one of the best, if not the best play on the entire slate. So Definitely liking Larson a lot. More than likely will be my highest owned dominator, although there's some other guys that I definitely like as well. One of those being Kyle Busch, $11,200 here. He's starting in 12th, so he does offer you some more PD upside. He hasn't been quite as good as Larson at Darlington, but he's still very, very strong here. 3 top 5s as well. 5 top 10s. I mean, more than likely, Kyle Busch is going to be a top 5 contender here. I will say I like him more in the 550 package because, as you can see this season in the 750 package, he has had some bad luck where the most recent race in New Hampshire, he did wreck out very early on due to the rain and all the JGR cars kind of got wiped out. But, I mean, he's been definitely a lot worse in this package here. Average finish of 17.3 compared to his, average finish of 3-something in the 550 package here. Only 20 DraftKings points per race, only 1 top 5 and 3 top 10s. Yes, I have interest in Kyle Busch. He projects well for me, but I'd rather play Kyle Larson. I think he's way more likely to lapse. Has been one of the most steady drivers this season. I definitely wouldn't fade him, but if I had to pick between the two, I would definitely side with Larson. And I like Truex more than I like Busch, too. I mean, Truex has been very, very good in this package this year, arguably the best driver. He has 3 wins, 4 top 5s, the 3rd most laps led, and the 3rd most fast laps. I mean, he won the Darlington race earlier this season, absolutely dominated it. Never realized the track is going to change a little bit this time around, but I mean, this team, the 19 team, definitely sells out for these 750 package races. I mean, they don't really care too much about the others because, well, the championship race is going to be in the 750 package, so why not just sell for the 750? So every single time we're at one, I will always have interest in Truex this season. That's not going to change here. Starting in 10th, we have some PD upside. He's not quite as expensive as his teammate Kyle Busch or Kyle Larson. And if you want to pair Larson and Truex together, I think that's a very strong way to go. They could very easily finish 1-2 in this race, but I'm liking Truex quite a bit. I think him winning this race and just dominating it last time is going to make his ownership a little bit high, which is fine with me. I think he's a very good play, and he's good at Darlington. And he finally got that win under his belt, so I definitely like Truex quite a bit here at $11,000. Dropping down to the 10K range here, we have Willie B starting on 14, so he's a pretty nice PD play. A lot of these guys are actually some pretty solid PD plays, although it's just because of how they finished at Daytona, although they did put the playoff drivers up to the front, so they're not starting quite as far back as they would have normally. But starting in 14th, I definitely think he's a pretty solid play here. The past 2 races here, he's finished inside the top 5. He's been good at every single track this season for the most part. Maybe outside the road courses haven't exactly been too kind to him, but I like Willie B just about everywhere. Don't let his average finish skew you because he's had a couple really bad finishes where he had issues, where he finished 35th and 35th back in 2020 in the first race and 2018 fall race. But the past 2 races have been very good, 4th, 5th, and 12th. And if all goes well for Willie B, I mean, he's always a potential dominator, can always get fast laps. And I mean, the Hendrick power, it's been real this season. I don't really think he's going to fall off in the playoffs here. He hasn't been much of a lap leader here at Darlington, but I definitely think he could be a top 5 guy. Brad Keselowski, $10,400 starting in 16th. So he's had a bit of a drop-off in the 750 package this year, although in the most recent race, he kind of righted the ship where he was a dominator at New Hampshire, looking very, very good in that race. He definitely wanted him in your DraftKings lineup that weekend, although for the most part, he has been way better in the 550 than he has in the 750, so it's kind of weird. 16th, I think he's an overall solid play, although I'd much rather play William Byron, to be honest, and I think I'd rather play Joey Logano, who has had more speed in the 750 package this year, but Keselowski's starting 16th. I can't really argue him being a good PD play, but if we're looking at his numbers this season in this package, I mean, average finish of 16.9. There's been some bad luck considering his average running position is 11.7. He does have 2 top 5s, and he is actually pretty solid at Darlington. He does have a win here recently. Starting in 16th, he is playable, but he definitely won't be one of my higher owned dominators. Logano, $10,100. He's starting at 11th. As you can see, his numbers have been a lot better in this package this season with 4 top 5s, 6 top 10s, more laps led, slightly less fast laps, although New Hampshire kind of buffed up Keselowski's numbers overall. But a better driver rating, average finish of 6.1, which is only behind Kyle Larson, and over 50 DraftKings points per race. So at that price point, I don't think he'll be as high owned as maybe a guy like Keselowski just because of the starting spot. I'll probably have more exposure to Logano than Keselowski this weekend. Moving on to the 9K range, we have Kevin Harvick at $9,800 starting in 9th. And yes, I know he's been the man at Darlington in the past. I mean, last year he absolutely crushed it multiple times. But the thing is, he has just not been a dominator this year. Although I will say, the last 750 package race we've had in New Hampshire, Kevin Harvick was a dominator. He was one of the best guys you could roster that week. It was absolutely crazy. It finally happened. We're back at a 750. Stuart Haas has been way better in the 750 package. Has been way better in the 750 package this year than they had been in the 550. So Kevin Harvick might be worth playing just a little bit because it is the playoffs. Maybe they turn it up a little bit. We'll see. Do I think he's super likely to dominate? No. Do I think he's likely to contend for a top 8 finish? Sure. He's had some really good finishes this season in this package. I mean, I can't really argue with that. Running position is 7.7, over 100 driver rating. Only 1 top 5 though, but 6 top 10s. Like, I feel like he's going to finish around 5th to 10th place, which is fine. Although for DFS purposes, I want some dominator points at his price point, which I really don't think we're going to get. On the season, he's averaging 10.9 laps led per race, 13.4 fast laps, all kind of beefed up in the race we had a couple weeks ago. Although I will say Darlington last him out, I'm pretty sure he went up front for like 9 laps and then ended up losing the lead. But I mean, Harvick's the man here. If you want to look at his numbers, I don't really care about track history too much for a lot of these guys this season. But an average finish of 3.2 with 2 wins and 5 top 5s. Like, yeah, he has been really good at Darlington. To be honest, he has been definitely a very hard guy to trust this year, so I really don't think I'll have too much Kevin Harvick, but I'm not going to full fade just because of the speed we saw at New Hampshire earlier this season. Then Denny Hamlin, $9,500. He is starting in second place. I love this price point. He's going to be one of the highest owned drivers in the field this weekend just because of the price. He has been super, super fast in this package this year. He's leading all drivers in the sympathy package in average green flag speed, and his numbers are just overall very, very strong. Close to 70 DraftKings points per race, which is only behind Kyle Larson. He's been one of the top dominators, second in lap sleds, second in fast laps, 4 top 5s, 6 top 10s with a running position of 5.3, which is the best amongst all drivers, the third best average finish, and Hamlin's pretty good at Darlington. Price point, I feel like most people are going to roster Larson and Hamlin together in cash games, which I definitely think is a pretty strong, good way to go. And I would not be surprised if Denny Hamlin is the early dominator because Ryan Blaney historically struggled here, plus especially at night races, so I think Denny Hamlin could be the most likely guy to lead laps early on, or get the lead after the competition caution on lap 15, but definitely a big fan of Hamlin here. I think the price is just completely too low here, and I'm definitely going to take advantage of that. We have Chase Elliott, $9,200, another guy that I feel like is just way too underpriced. He hasn't won in this package this year, but he just have 3 top 5 finishes. Not a big dominator or anything, but he's always going to be fast. It's a Hendrick car. Would not be surprised if he finishes like 1-2 with Larson or something like that, but overall his numbers are very strong. He's been good in the average game flag speed department. He finished 7th earlier this season. He's got a couple top 5s here, running position inside the top 10. First finish is skewed a little bit because he did wreck out one of those races last year, although he could have won that one. But $9,200, I would expect some pretty high ownership for Chase Elliott, and I'm definitely going to be playing him quite a bit this weekend. Dropping down to the 8K range, we have quite a few drivers to talk about here, all interesting in tournaments because in the 7K range, we have a lot of chalky cash game options, so these guys are definitely going to be interesting as far as lower ownership goes and leverage spots. But we have Alex Bowman, $8,900, starting in 5th. I can't imagine how much ownership whatsoever. He did have some really strong runs at Darlington last season, but he only has 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s. For where he's starting, I have a hard time seeing him lead laps over guys like Kyle Busch, Truex, Kyle Larson, William Byron, all those kind of guys, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin starting up front. So I feel like Bowman's going to be one of those guys that finishes around, I don't know, 6th to 8th place, which is fine, but we're probably going to need a little bit more than that at $8,900 unless he picks up some fast laps or he happens to get up front at some point. But he has been pretty good in this package in terms of getting wins. He has 2 wins, which is only behind Martin Truex, and is even more than his teammate Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott and William Byron. He's got 2 top 5s, obviously. He has had some laps led, some fast laps. I mean, I don't have anything wrong with Bowman. He's purely a tournament play for me, but I will not have too much ownership there because of the starting spot, because I just don't think he's as likely to lapse as some of the other drivers I already mentioned. Christopher Bell, $8,700. He's starting in 13th. I think he's one of the best tournament plays in the entire board. He has been way, I mean, drastically better in the 750 packages here compared to the 550. Green flag speed sheet, I do have the percentage difference of how much faster drivers have been in certain packages, and Christopher Bell's right up there with Eric Almirola being one of the most drastic splits in that category. So any single time we go to a 750, I'm always going to have interest in Christopher Bell. Starting in 13th, it should keep his ownership somewhat low, but he has top 8 potential here. He finished 11th here in the 95 car last season, had an issue in the last race where he finished 34th and finished 14th earlier this year, but the 20 car has a very good history at Darlington when Eric Jones was driving, and Bell has definitely been very strong this season. Average finish inside the top 10 in this package this year with 5 top 10 finishes and 2 top 5s. So I'm definitely in on Bell for tournaments. Hoping the ownership is pretty low. I definitely want to be overweight on that. Ryan Blaney is probably the most interesting guy to talk about. Also a little bit of a shout out. The Coke 0400 last week makes it 2 races in a row. So shout out to the Ryan Blaney fan club. Back in full force and 2nd in the point standings now. So shout out to my man Ryan Blaney here. But starting in 1st at Darlington, the price point's fantastic. If Ryan Blaney could lead a decent chunk of the first stage, as long as he finishes like in the top 8, he will probably be in the optimal lineup at only $8,500. The problem is, he is not very good at Darlington whatsoever. He's good in the 750 package. All Penske cars are for the most part. But at Darlington, for some reason, he has really struggled here. Although I will mention, his best finish ever here came earlier this season where he finished in 8th place. And that's, I mean, compared to his other finishes, that's pretty good where he finished 24th, 21st, 16th, 13th, and 15th. The problem is, I'm just worried about Denny Hamlin starting right beside him because Denny Hamlin's obviously a lot better. Darlington has been better in the 750 package this year. He's had more speed, so I do have concerns for Ryan Blaney. Plus, for some reason, he likes to struggle at night races sometimes. Although I will say a lot of the night races happen to be at his worst tracks. I'm not really sure that's a correlation or anything. I'm going to play Ryan Blaney this week, and I know I'm kind of putting him down a little bit, but I'm still going to play him. I might go even on the field, maybe a little bit underweight or even on the field because I'm just a little bit concerned about the guy starting close to him. But starting the poll, $8,500 in a Penske car, a 750 package race, I'm definitely going to have some interest. Austin Dillon's probably the safest driver here, starting in 21st. Typically a top 15, top 12 guy at a Darlington type track, which I don't think we're going to see anything change here. I realize he missed the playoffs, but that doesn't mean he's going to stop trying. So I definitely think Austin Dillon is going to be in play. It's just, I mean, he looks good. Like on a normal slate, he's probably going to be pretty high owned, but with all the 7K chalk here, he'll probably get a little bit overlooked. Not that he's going to go like unearned or anything, but starting 21st, we could realistically gain close to 10 spots in this race and feel pretty good about it. So definitely have some interest in Austin Dillon there, running position of around like 15th to 12th place at all these kind of track types, and he's been good at Darlington. Very much inside the top 20 each and every single time. Then Kirk Bush, I like him at Darlington typically, but he's just starting way too far up for me. Plus, he has drastic splits when it comes from the 750 to 550 package. Been better than the 550, so probably going to be out on Kirk Bush here. I can't imagine myself having more than 5% Kurt starting in 3rd place. Then Tyler Reddick, $8,000 starting in 7th. If you're looking for the ultimate leverage play, all the chalk is right below him. Chris Buescher, MDB, Ross Chastain, Suarez, like that entire 7K range besides Eric Almirola is going to be very chalky. Then Ricky Stenhouse Jr. right below the 7K range is going to be very chalky as well. So no one's going to play Tyler Reddick starting in 7th, which I totally get. Although his first race at Darlington in the Cup Series, he did finish in 7th place. So the upside is there for him. He's going to have to hold his ground. He's in the playoffs. So, I mean, there's some extra added motivation for them to run well. Maybe they'll cheat a little bit. I'll take all the cheaters in my lineups that I can get. But if he finishes around 7th place, picks up some fast laps on the way, I definitely think Reddick is going to be in play. Only in tournaments, though. Would not play him in cash games. I mean, there's just no reason to do that. Then dropping down to the 7K range, there's really nothing different about any of these guys. They're all playable. Like Chris Buescher, 34th. If you're not playing him in cash games, I'm not sure what you're doing. MDB, play him in cash games starting in 30th. Like all these guys can gain at least 15 spots. Like I don't know what you'd be doing if you don't play these guys in cash. Like you got to be playing them there. MDB has 2 top 10s at Darlington before. Chris Buescher has a top 10, 3 top 15s. Like especially in tournaments, like yeah, there's leverage to be had to go underweight and go heavier in the 8K range. But I think it's gonna be a little bit different roster construction, but I mean, these guys look like fantastic plays here. Bush has been a lot better in the 550 than he has in the 750 this year. His numbers are actually pretty disappointing in this package, but starting 34th just makes up for it. Chastain's been fine in this package this year. Average finish of 13th, running position of 15.5. He has a top 5, 2 top 10s, 7 top 20s. He looks pretty good starting in 23rd. He probably won't be as high owned as the other guys because he starts a little bit further up, but that just makes me like him even more, hoping his ownership's a little bit lower. Daniel Suarez starting in 26. He has top 15 potential. He's had a couple top 10s in this package this year. Cole Custer. The Stewart Haas cars are typically a little bit better in the 750 this year, so I think he's fine starting in 31st, although the numbers aren't too encouraging. I hate trusting Cole Custer, but you got to play some of them starting in 31st in case he happens to get a top 20. Then Eric Almirola, $7,000. He has the most drastic splits of any driver when it comes from going to this 550 package to the 750, and he's on the very top of the list in terms of the difference in speed he has. He has a win in this package at New Hampshire. He has 2 top 5 finishes, 3 top 10s. If you're looking for, I know I said Reddick's the ultimate GPP play, but if you're looking for the other ultimate GPP play, it's Eric Almirola starting in 8th because he is priced right in between all the chalk drivers, like all the chalk drivers. I would not be surprised if Almirola comes in below like 8% owned. If you're going to go a little bit overweight on that, maybe even like 5% owned. So if you're going to go overweight, I mean, Eric Almirola's got a decent chance of getting a top 10. He's in the playoffs, so he's obviously racing for something. So I don't hate rostering Eric here. Dropping down to the 6K range, we have a pretty obvious play here in Ricky Stenhouse Jr., $6,800. He's starting back in 29th, and he has been very consistent in this package this year. Finishes out of the top 20 each and every single time. Average finish 15th place. I'd be kind of surprised if he doesn't gain close to 15 spots here. So at $6,800, he's kind of just a gimme, similar to guys like Chris Buescher, MDB, Chastain, and Suarez. Ryan Preece, $6,600 starting in 18th. I think that's probably a clear fade there. Michael McDowell, he's in the playoffs. The problem is he's been a lot better in the 550 package. As you can see in the 750, he has been pretty much hot garbage with an average finish of 25th. Running position not too far away. A driver rating of 49 and only 1 top 20 finish, so you can count me out on Michael McDowell. Chase Briscoe with $6,300 starting in 24th. I actually think he's a decent play here. I know the numbers aren't super encouraging, but he did finish 11th at Darlington earlier this season. Had an overall pretty good run. Didn't really get lucky or anything. Just straight up finished 11th. And plus, like I said, the Stewart Haas cars tend to be a little bit better in this package, bring a little bit more speed. Eric Jones, $6,100. He's starting in 22nd. If you look at the Darlington numbers, you'd think this is the easiest play ever because besides the last race in the 43 car, he's finished 4th, 5th, 8th, 1st, and 8th. Like, this is a very, very good track for Eric Jones. The problem is now he's driving a terrible car in the 43 car, so his upside is pretty zapped. That's one of the reasons I like Christopher Bell because the 20 car has definitely proved that it can be very strong at Darlington. But with Eric Jones here, we have top 20 upside. This is a very good track for him. I realize the equipment's a big downgrade, so we can't expect top 5s from him anymore. But I think he could potentially crack the top 18, top 15. But if he gets like an 18th and 19th place finish, we're looking at close to 30 DraftKings points, which is not bad at all at $6,100. I would definitely have exposure to Eric Jones. Plus, he has an average running position inside the top 20 in this package this season. Bubba Wallace, $6,000 starting in 17th. Not really a big fan here. I realize the equipment's a little bit better than a couple of these guys down low, but he finished 21st here earlier in the season. This package this year, he kind of has similar numbers to Eric Jones, and I will say Jones has 5 top 20s in this package. I'd rather play Jones over Bubba this weekend. Dropping out of the 5K range. Not many playable drivers, but we do have the first 3 guys to talk about in Anthony Alfredo, Ryan Newman, and Corey LaJoie. Alfredo, He is purely a place differential play, not expecting much here, but you're just kind of crossing your fingers and toes for a top 25, which is certainly possible, although he only has an average finish of 20.3 in this package this year. Ryan Newman, $5,700, starting in 19th. If you're kind of betting on recent track history, Ryan Newman is pretty good at Darlington. He's usually good at the high tire tracks because he's good at conserving his tires. He finished 10th here early in the season. In the past 3 races before that, 15th, 14th, and 15th. With an average finish of 16th, which is similar to his running position. Starting in 19th, it's really just a price play. Like, it's been really, really tough to trust Ryan Newman, but I'm definitely going to have some Ryan Newman shares here. I think he's arguably the best play in this cheap range. Then Corey LaJoie, starting in 25th, $5,500. He has an average finish half a spot better than that. Running position very similar, and has cracked the top 20 once in this package. I'm not excited about it, but if you're going to differentiate down low, I think Corey LaJoie is the only other viable option. And the rest of these guys, I would not play whatsoever. No Quinn Houff for me. Cody Ware, James Davison, Gase McLeod, Haley Blick. If I had to play one, I guess I'd say it's Quinn Houff starting in dead last at 37th at $5,400 because he does have an average finish of 31st at these track types this season, which I know is pretty awful, but it's around 5 to 6 spots gained, which I can't really complain about too much. But outside of them, I am pretty much done breaking these drivers down. So I hope it was helpful, and if it was, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet already. If you want to take that one step further, become an official member over on Patreon. Link is down below in the description for that. Plus, I'll have NFL content coming out in the next couple of days, so there's a lot to be excited about. And don't forget, this video was sponsored by Prize Picks, just you versus the projections. And as of right now, if you're new signing over there, you can use code CPEN to get a free money bonus up to $100 when you tell them I sent you. But I think that'll be it for the video. I'll stop rambling. Make sure you guys follow me on social media if you want. ChrisPennell16 on Twitter and CPEN16 over on IG. And I'll see you guys on Sunday afternoon for the live stream.